Welcome you all. In this lecture, we will discuss about the topic physical layer and transceiver design consideration in wireless sensor network. So this is the final topic in Unit 2. The main objective of this topic is, so here we are going to concentrate on physical design layer. How we are going to design a physical layer with respect to wireless sensor network. When we are going to design your physical layer with respect to wireless sensor network, we are going to consider the following things. So it must consume low power, it must have small transmit power and small transmission range, it must have low duty cycle. So here most of the hardwares must be switched off or operated in a low power standby mode in most of the times, and it must have comparably low data rates. So in terms of 100 tens to 100 kilobits per second. So and it also has low implementation complexity and class, and it must have low degree of mobility. So and it also have small form factor. These are all the important points we need to consider while designing a physical layer with respect to wireless sensor network. Okay. So now we are while designing these things, we are going to face some of the challenges. So because here we are going to design a structure, and finally you can call it as a transceiver structures. In order to convey the information from source to sink node, we are going to have this part, that is the transceiver design part. So we now, while designing this transceiver architecture, we are going to have some challenges. So we are going to consider some important parameters, that is energy usage profile and choice of modulation scheme, dynamic modulation scaling, antenna considerations. So if you consider all those things, then we can able to design a successful transceiver architecture. Let us see one by one in detail. First, we will discuss about the topic energy usage profile. So, as you all know that all the wireless sensor nodes are operated with respect to the batteries. So, all are battery dependent devices. So, the energy consumption must be low. It is the first criteria which we are going to consider whatever cases in WSN, right? So when you talk about the energy usage profile, first we are consider about the radiated energy. So in order to transmit the information from source node to sink node, so we are going the antenna having radiate some energy. So the radiation must be small, right, up to 1 milliwatts. And second key is here most of the times if the sensor node doesn't have any data, then during that time it must be in sleep state instead of just idling. If you are keeping that is in idling state, so it also consume the same power, right? So in order to save the energy, here we are going to choose the transceiver must be mostly in sleep state instead of just idling. And next, third important point is what are the things we have used for our communication purpose. So many things we are used in a wireless sensor network. So based on that and communication equipments, it will be consuming that energy. So so many manufacturers are there. They are manufacturing different products. Their product will consume different energy because each and every company is having its own configurations. So here they have shown some of the examples of the processor type which is involved in computation process. So the Rockwell Win nodes and Nucla Wins NG 2.0 and Medusa 2 nodes. So here when we talk about the Rockwell Win nodes, it can able to transmit 1500 to 2700 instructions. It can able to compute these much instructions per transmitted bit. So when we talk about Wins NG 2.0 nodes, it can able to run 220 to 2900 instructions per transmitted bit. When we talk about Medusa 2 nodes, it can able to run the 1400 instructions per transmitted bit. So I have shown the images here. So here this is an image of our sensor nodes. So first in the left hand side I have shown that image. Here uh, it is WINS NG 2.0 nodes. The exact in the like the this is so like this your sensor node will be there. So when we talk about the Rockwell, the sensor node will be appeared like this. This is an example of this type of node. So in order to compute the things here, we are this is fabricated by different manufacturer. This is fabricated by different manufacturer. So the instructions, the execution of instruction per transmitted bit is different. According to that, the power consumption is also varied. Okay, the second challenges we need to address is choice of modulation scheme. So, in order to convey the information from one location to another location, we are going to do some modeling, right? Then, if you are do modulation, then only we can able to transfer the information from over a longer distance, right? So here the topic is transceiver design means it is a sub part of this model transceiver designs. When we talk about the transceiver design, so modulation also play a important role. So we all know that from your lawyers class itself, you might have studied about so what are all the modulation, what are the are available in analog as well as digital. So many lot of modulations we are having. So here our first criteria is the modulation should consume less power. That is our ultimate aim, and it has no, it has very much less interference. So these are all the things we need to consider. So likewise, we are going to take analyze all the modulation techniques. So for how we are going to analyze means based on the following factors like data rate, symbol rate, and implementation complexity. So based on these things, we can able to judge or choose which type of modulation is suitable for this kind of application. So some of the with respect to the application, the modulation scheme may get varied. So for all type of application, we can't able to use the same modulation method. So depending upon the modulation, we can able to use different modulations. So our ultimate aim is if, here also the transceiver can spend in more time in sleep mode. So in order to keep this, your transmit time should be minimized. Your transmit time should be, if your transmit time is minimized, then we can say the most of the time the transceiver is will be in sleep mode. So now, in order to increase the reduce the transmit time, how you will reduce the transmit time? If you increase the for example, the sensor node is there. The sensor node has detected some event. So now it start to convey the information to that corresponding sync node. So in order to do that, so it will be sharing the data. So if the data rate is high, then it will be conveyed the information at very faster. Once it has to be done, then it will be get back into the sleep mode. So we that based on this, we can able to reduce the transmit time. Through that, we can able to achieve the increased time for sleeping state, right? So in order to increase the data rate, through that we can able to reduce the transmit time. So if we are reducing the transmit time, automatically we can able to maximize what um, maximize the sleeping mode time. And second important consideration in choice of modulation scheme is power consumption depending upon the modulation scheme. When we talk about the power consumption, so we will be having so many methods, that is complementary code keying modes consuming more energy. Complementary code keying modes is there. So it will consume more energy than DBPSK and DQPSK. So when we take analysis about these three things, the difference between only 10 percentage. The power consumption, if you are using CCK, the power consumption has greatly reduced below 10 percentage. So in order to provide a solution for this, we are going to use this MRA modulation schemes. So this MRA modulation schemes provide high data rate at low symbol rates. So you all know that if the data rate is high, automatically the transmit time should be raised. So we have achieved first criteria, that is maximum of our transceiver must be in sleep mode. Okay. Then third criteria is dynamic modulation scaling. So when we talk about these things, dynamic modulation scaling, for some application, some modulation is suitable. As I already mentioned this point, so according to the applications, some of the modulation technique will be used. So here, if suppose we are using this kind of dynamic modulation scaling, we can able to reduce the power consumptions. So it can able to adapt according to the methods, right? So that we can able to reduce that power consumption. So mostly for this case we are using MRA, quadrature amplitude modulation. So when we talk about this MRA, quadrature amplitude modulation, so it has so when we increasing the symbol rate, the delay will be greatly reduced. So if the delay will be reduced, so automatically the data rate will be, so we can convey the information from source to sink at very high fast, very high rate, so that we can able to achieve sleep mode, right? So in this way we can able to reduce the power consumption. So the dynamic modulation scheme is a wonderful method. Through that we can able to reduce the power consumption. In that mostly we are going to use this MRA, quadrature amplitude modulations. There you all know that 4-bit, 16-bit, so many types of that. According to the applications we are going to choose which one is suitable. Okay. At the final case, we are going to consider about antenna considerations. So you all know that we are going to deploying the sensor with help of the helicopter. So there you can't able to define or assume that the antenna will be phased towards our satellites, phased in towards our top positions. So because it is randomly deployed from somewhat height, so the antenna will be facing at any angles, right? The direction of the antenna will be at any angles, right? So through that, even though it will be there, it can able to convey the information to the corresponding sync node. So that is why we are going to consider the, likewise we are going to choose the antennas. So whatever may be the position or direction of the antenna, it must emit that radiation and it correspondingly to reach the sync node. So all those things we are going to consider. So if the antenna is much smaller than the carrier wavelength, it is hard to achieve good antenna efficiency. So we are going to take care about these points. So the carrier wavelength. So in order to increase the antenna efficiency, so the antenna should have higher than the carrier wavelength. So if that, the radiating energy will be less. Then here I mentioned that, so since the nodes are randomly deployed from the aircraft, it has the random orientation. Through that we will be facing some problems. So even though if you are choosing the antennas, so there most of the cases it should be lead to non-isotropic propagation. So isotropic means equal in all directions. So there is a case of non-isotropic propagations. All those things we consider when we design your physical and transceiver structure for these kind of wireless sensor network applications. Thank you.